up, everyone? All right, so back in the saddle here, Monday morning in the green, 2 times the daily goal, we got some action. Now, I did my game plan on Sunday night, last night, kind of gave you my game plan for the week ahead, and I ended up trading one of the stocks that was right off my game plan kind of watch list for today, MEGL. It was a Chinese IPO from Friday, IPO'd at $50 a share, or right around 50, went up to a high of $235 a share. And that was the one where I tried to buy 1,000 shares, but filled only 2 shares of my order. Well, I got it back today. I got a nice trade on it on the break of 200, and then a second squeeze up to a high of right under 250. So that ended up being like a $42 a share move from the 207 entry all the way up to 250, which was pretty solid. So, but you know, today I left some money on the table, and we're gonna talk about that during the recap, because I think one of the things to remember with trading is you're always doing one of 2 things. You're always either leaving some money on the table or giving back profit. And so it's kind of up to you which you'd rather do. My approach is that I'd actually rather leave money on the table. Now, I know there's traders out there that are super greedy, and that's not a bad thing. They're aggressive, driven, they want to make as much as they can. But what I sometimes find is that when you start getting into that chasing mode, you can start getting desperate, just getting a little frazzled, a little frantic, and that's not usually where my best trading comes out. You know, there are days where we have really strong FOMO, MOMO, because we have something like HKD or whatever it is, you know, going up 500%. And on those days, being quick to jump in whatever's moving, it does make sense. But those are sort of the exception. And on most days, I do the best focusing on the leading percentage gainers. And so today, for instance, MEGL and BNSO were the 2 top gappers in the market. They were both gapping up over 100% versus Friday's close. I traded both of them, and those were the 2 that brought me to 2 times my daily goal. They both had high relative volume. They both had decent daily charts. Well, of course, MEGL, recent IPO. But, you know, from a technical perspective, they were both good. They were both the right type of stock to trade. We'll talk about that more during the recap, but I stayed focused on the leading gainers today. And so once the bell rang, one of the problems was that both of them were choppy. MEGL did go up to a high of 250, but then rolled over and halted down. It sold off to like 160, then bounced back up to 225, and is at 171 right now. And as I mentioned during the recap, I think that this still has potential, but I'm not going to trade all day today, so we'll just let it be what it is. And then BNSO was really choppy pre-market. You had basically like 2 nice candles, one at 7 a.m. and the other at 8 a.m. And in between that, lots of false breakouts. So this stock was already showing me through its price action that it was not trustworthy. And so coming into the open, I was like, you know what? I don't like it. If it was really strong, it would be much higher than it is right now. It would have popped up, pulled back for just a short 5-minute pullback, and went higher, not like a 30-minute pullback where it's got a bunch of false breakouts. So it didn't surprise me at the open when we saw 2 really nasty false breakouts, almost halting up, reversing, halting down. It traps beginner traders. Those are bull traps. And I did not fall into those bull traps today. I said, nope, I'm not gonna go into it. And you know, maybe I left a little profit on the table because I probably could have traded it a little more aggressively and maybe made a little bit more. And then there was another stock that popped up and made a pretty big move that wasn't on the gap scanner and didn't have news. And I said, you know what? I don't think this is the day to go for this type of FOMO, MOMO setup, because I'm not sure that it's gonna be strong enough. And what I said during the game plan, kind of weekly game plan watch list on Sunday night, was that I thought it would be better to focus on stocks that had news this week, but if they don't have news, at least focus on that they're the most obvious leading gainers. So, you know, some of the more obscure ones, maybe they'll get a little pop, but I don't think they're gonna hold. And so this is the time when things start to get choppy for me to kind of hunker down, slow down, and not overstay my welcome. And so maybe I am leaving some money on the table, but I'm walking away with profit in my pocket, and that always feels better. It's terrible when I'm like, no, I'm not gonna trade something, and then it goes higher and higher, and so finally I'm like, okay, I'm in. FOMO, I give in. And then I end up losing on it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm the guy who's down on a stock that's up 300% of the day. This is ridiculous. And I went from being at twice the daily goal to whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. It's the feeling that I gave back profit, I pushed it too hard. So, on the other hand, if every day you walk away, let's say, as soon as you hit your daily goal, you might be leaving too much on the table, because there are days where it's warranted and the market calls for you to be more aggressive. So it is a fine line, and that's what I'm trying to find the balance on right now. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the recap. I'll put a link down in the description for the waitlist for Day Trade Dash. That's the stock scanning software that I use with has scanners, breaking news, audio video broadcast to be while I'm trading, and its own chat room. So you guys can check that out. We're doing a sort of slow rollout on this. So we have a small group of traders that are already in it. We're opening up enrollment just for a couple of membership levels right now. We're doing a slow ramp as we kind of get people into the platform. We want to make sure it's a really good experience and then start to open it up more. So right now, email only invitation if you guys want to check it out and be some of the first traders using the Day Trade Dash platform. All right, so there'll be a link down below for that. And I hope you guys enjoy the recap. I hope you hit the thumbs up, and I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning for the morning show. All right, see you then. All right, well, I'm gonna go over my trades from the morning. It's about 10:30, and this morning, we had some gappers, and I got some trades on the top 2 leading gappers. Everything I traded today was on the gap scan, and at this point, those stocks have kind of pulled back, and I don't really feel like taking risk on some of these others that are going, because one of the things that's important is being able to have a really good sense of when we have true momentum. And I think right now we've got a little bit of momentum on a couple of these stocks, like TOP, which is just squeezed up, HLBZ, which is moving higher, but I'm not sure that these are going to hold. They weren't leading gappers. Well, HLBZ actually was one of the leading gappers, is 4th leading, but TOP wasn't. And I'm having a hard time telling whether these are going to keep going. It doesn't have news. It's not going to be sympathy momentum really to anything, because there's nothing really to have sympathy to at this point. So I think that this is where things can get a little choppy and a little unpredictable. And I think I'm probably best bet for me today is to call it a day. So traded in my retirement account, locking up $9,521, which is twice the daily goal, approximately. Daily goal is $5,000. So can't complain about that. Puts me from 68,000 up to 77,000 on the month. So making my way towards $100,000, which would be wonderful to cross that number. Not that it really makes a huge difference, but that'd be nice. So let's look at the gap scanner. Okay, leading gapper this morning was MEGL. But let's look at BNSO first. BNSO is second leading gapper, but they're both up over 100%. These are big gaps. So 130% gap on BNSO. This one was moving a bit on Friday on a little bit of sympathy to MEGL. So back to MEGL, Chinese IPO, very similar to HKD, just in the sense that they're both Chinese and they're both an IPO. That's about it. But HKD, obviously, this huge move last week, traders got super excited seeing this kind of move, and we ended up getting some really strong sympathy momentum on it. Sympathy momentum on other stocks. So this one was strong, and then we had others that were squeezing. QNRX, ENVB, to name a few. Those were some big ones last week. So this morning, Friday, MEGL IPOs, and goes from $50 up to a high of $235 a share. Pulls back here, back down to 70, comes back up to 200, and closes after hours at around 198 or whatever it was, or just under 200. Pre-market goes up to 235. I took 2 trades on it today. My first trade on it was right here. It was like right around. It's actually right here on this candle. I got in, which was, no, sorry, it wasn't there. What's really funny is this doesn't, the chart's been a little funny on this because I got in for the break at 200, but we definitely saw 205. And I want to say that I added up around 205. Yeah, I added at 203.17, 203.39, 203.24. So, you know, I was adding as it was going higher. That was at about 9 a.m. So anyway, so that was like right around here. So the chart's not reflecting that. I don't know why, but in any case, it's just this chart was weird yesterday. So maybe the market data provider that eSignal's using is just not getting everything for some reason. So I got in here because I thought, well, we were sort of moving back up a little bit. There was initially a pretty big spread. It was like 185 by 190. Then the spread started to tighten up a bit, and there was 200 on the ask, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to jump in here for the break at 200 because I think if it breaks this critical psychological level, we might get a nice move up. So I got in at 200. It goes up to 203, 204, 205. It wasn't able to break, and I ended up selling it for $300 profit. So took 155 shares, started with 50, added to 155 or something like that. Maybe it was a little higher, but right around there, 150 shares. And yeah, I made $300. So $2 a share. All right. Then going right into the open, all of a sudden it rips up and I added back at 207. So I added back here at 207. And this thing went to 235, right back to the pre-market high, which is what I had wanted on this trade, but it just didn't happen. But I got it on this trade, and it goes up to a high of 249.94. I gave it a second to break through 250. It wasn't unfortunately able to break through 250. My best exit on it was 246. So a little bit bummed out that we didn't get that squeeze through 250. I was hoping for a squeeze through 250 and a halt up, but it didn't end up happening. It ended up reversing and halting down. Then it opened higher, but then it halted down again. Then it pulled all the way back to 158, bounced back up to 226, and whatever. Now it's just, you know, to be honest, like, it's still very similar to HKD. I think there's a very good chance that I'll look at this at 5 o'clock today and we'll have seen that it consolidated and then ended up breaking through the high. I could definitely see that happening. But I'm going to be on my traveling trading station for the rest of the week, so I'm going to roll out this afternoon, and so I'm not going to be trading all day today. And you know what? Maybe I'll end up missing the move, but this was also, you know, fairly risky with the spreads, and where I really would probably do better is trading sympathy momentum. We haven't really had a lot of sympathy momentum today. TOP did just make a pretty nice move up. However, it's only got 600,000 shares of volume right now, which for a lower price stock is pretty low. And it halted up once at 1591, straight into a second halt at 1870, straight up to the high of 2159, false halt, now halted down at 1845 and showing a 1650 resumption. So how do you trade something like this? Well, to be honest, this is particularly tricky because it just kind of went into a halt up, then opened higher, and in 10 seconds went straight up. So on the 10-second chart, I don't even see a micro pullback. What about a 1-second chart? For those of you who are trading really, really fast. So on a 1-second chart, it looks like maybe you could have, maybe in this area, you could have done a dip at 1750, maybe, but not super, super easy. And then up here, this would have been buying out of the second halt. That's pretty risky, especially with no news and lighter volume. So that would have been a dip at 20 up to 2150, but then it double tops and then rejects off that level. And when it breaks down right here around 1960, then it goes into the halt down. So I don't know, probably wouldn't have been super easy to trade on the way up, on the way back down, shorting. Let's see, what's the cost to borrow? It's 44 cents a share. So 1,000 shares would be $440 at light speed. It's kind of expensive, but That's what it is. All-time high on it is 50.97. But in any case, just cautious on trading that because that's a bit expensive, lighter volume, and it has no news. So MEGL, I'll trade because it is more expensive, but it's like the main stock. And I feel like if that one goes, then you're going to have a lot of sympathy momentum because it's just such a crazy percentage of move. And that's more of sympathy to HKD. This just doesn't feel that way to me. But you know what? It ended up making a good move. And I didn't trade it. So I don't know. Whatever. So that's that. So then BNSO, this was actually the first stock I traded today. And there were basically two pretty nice moves on it. There was this one right here at 7 a.m., which I missed. And then there was this one right here at 8 a.m., which I traded. I didn't do super well on it, to be honest. So when I sat down and looked at it right in this area, I thought to myself, I was like, nice pop, but I looked at the level 2, spreads weren't bad, volume was okay. I saw it was easy to borrow, which I thought was surprising. I'm familiar with the stock. It's not a blue sky setup. It's not a recent IPO. It's not a recent reverse split. It has no news. So all it really has going for it is that it's also Chinese. So I was like, I don't know if that's quite enough. But again, it goes from 8 to 12 at 7 a.m. But then look at the false breakout right here. False breakout right there. And this was a first candle, 5 minute to make a new high, and that was a false breakout. So now the stock has already shown us 2 false breakouts. When it came up right here, I bought at 11, I think it was 11.75 or so for the break of 13. Let's see. And that was my first trade. I can't remember. It was somewhere in there. And then we had a dip at 12.50. A quick little dip at $12.50. And that was an ad spot. And we got a nice move up to what ended up being $13.40. And on that trade, I made about $3,500, which was pretty nice. Well, I ended up adding back right here for the breakthrough $13.50. And on this candle, it drops to $12.10. Gave back, 1,000 on that trade. So now I'm up 2,500. And then I tried it again on a dip in this area, and I lost on it a second time or a third, whatever. So 1 winner and then 2 losers. Now I'm up only 1,400 on it. Drops again. And then I got a trade. I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere. I definitely took this trade here, this break of descending resistance, made like 600 on that. And anyways, I finished at 2,200 on it, which was about half of the total profit I made. So it was just choppy. And coming into the open, I was like, you know what? I don't like it because it did a false breakout here and here and here. Oops, here and here and here and a little bit here. And it's not strong enough. So I'm not going for it. I'm not going back for it. So I said that like right before the open. I was like, I'm not going back for this. And look at this rejection. Look at this chop. So it squeezes into this move here, almost to a halt up, false halt, 1209, flushes down to 1045, stops out longs down at 10, bounces off 10, comes back up, tries to break VWAP up to 1171, and then flushes again, this time into a halt down. I was like, nope, I'm not touching this stuff. This is not worth it. This is too choppy. So and now you see this kind of crazy action on TOP. Your high was 2159. It doesn't really make sense. You've got a red shooting star candle, but then next thing you know, 2159, the halt level's 22. If this halts up, then I guess it's still strong. Your MACD is pulling away. You do have high volume on a red candle, but I don't know. What are you supposed to do? I mean, I guess you look at the trade through that level. Now the 5 minute is showing high volume green. So, but you've got this spread right now, which is 2114 by 2168. So, with MEGL, we had big spreads, but I was only trading 50 shares, 100 shares. But I thought I had the potential to make $10 a share. I don't think I have the potential to make $10 a share on this. Which means, if I'm going to be trading it, I'd probably want to be taking 2,000 to 3,000 shares. But just like that, this is now 2050 on the bid. And that's 2 points off the high. I'd be down 6,000 potentially, from top to bottom. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little cautious here. I had obviously a really good week last week, but it was really good on Tuesday and Wednesday. So last week, Tuesday and Wednesday were great. Monday was a little choppy, and Thursday was not great. Thursday, I went from up 12,000 basically to flat after fees and commissions, 2,200. And then Friday was 6,400, but that didn't feel super clean. So I was feeling a little nervous today that maybe we're on the backside of this move. 2 big green days here. Things might be cooling off, but it really all came down to what's MEGL going to do? Is MEGL going to go crazy? Is it going to squeeze up to $500? Because if it does, then it's going to be a really good week. Right now it's at 173 by 180. It's pulled back. You've got a little stuff going on here on top. You've got a little action on HLBZ, but I'm having a little hard time feeling super comfortable with those because I feel like the stock that, has kind of been driving the momentum, both of them have sort of pulled back. So, sometimes that will mean I'm a little bit biased and I'm going to miss a move. There you've got 2280. 2311 is the halt level. It's just right now I can't jump in it with any type of size because the spreads are too big. We were back to 2214 by 2265. So I'd only be able to trade it with small size. And then honestly, with this, it doesn't feel worth it. It's not close enough to all-time highs. So I don't know. Maybe traders will jump on it. Volume is coming in, but I think I'm just going to have to say that I'm going to leave it alone. So, you're always either leaving money on the table or giving back profit. Maybe I'm leaving a little money on the table today, but you can't feel too bad about that when you're up 9,500. I definitely would rather leave money on the table every single day than give back profit. Giving back profit is always a little disappointing, especially when you give back a good chunk, and especially when you sort of are talking yourself out of a trade, you don't take it, and then it goes higher, and then you sort of FOMO into it at the top, and then lose. It's not a good feeling. So sometimes the best bet is just to shut it down and live to trade another day. So that's the game plan for me. Closing it down here, and I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. Reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results are not typical, so make sure you take it slow. I'm going to put a link for those that watch this recap on YouTube to a new episode that's premiered today on my scanners, so you guys can check that out. And I'll put a link to another episode that I think you guys might like here. So I'll put 2 recommendations for you guys to keep watching, keep studying, and I'll see you back here for the morning show on YouTube tomorrow morning. All right, we'll see you then.